principle that anyone who comes to Canada from anywhere in the world has all the rights of a Canadian to be free from extortion, coercion, interference from a country that they left behind. And how we have stood up for Canadians, including in the very serious case that I brought forward to Parliament of the killing of Nijjar, demonstrates our government's commitment to defending the rights and freedoms of Canadians. Previous Conservative government that was known for its very cosy relationship with the current Indian government, whereas our government has always stood up to defend the minorities in Canada and the rights of minorities to speak out, even if it irritates their home countries overseas.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has apparently doubled down on his earlier stance of alleging India being involved in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. During a public hearing inquiry committee on the issue of foreign interference in the Canadian domestic electioneering process, Justin Trudeau told the commission that the principle that anyone who comes to Canada from anywhere in the world has all the rights of Canadian to be free from extortion, coercion, and interferences from a country that they have left behind. And referring to that incidence of killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, he said that we have stood up for Canadians, including in the very serious cases that are brought forward into the Parliament of the killing of Nijjar, and that demonstrates our government's commitment to defending rights and freedoms of Canadians. We know that the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Khalistani terrorist in the eyes of Indian agencies, has actually brought down the India-Canada bilateral diplomatic ties to a standstill, where we virtually saw both the countries suspending even visa operations. Several diplomats from the Canadian side, about 40 of them, had to leave India and go back to Canada because India sought parity in rank and posting of Canadian diplomats in India. We also saw how the other verticals of bilateral ties, economic, commerce, trade, and defense partnership and other areas have also been impacted by Justin Trudeau's adamant stance on Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing and apparently Indian agencies' role in that entire killing process. Our India has, of course, denied any allegation, so much so that Justin Trudeau, when he has been trying to time and again reiterate Canadian stance of Indian agencies' alleged role in the killing, he has still not come out in the public or government to government contact also of any substance, any concrete evidence that would establish India's role in killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. So for the last 6 months, it has been only political rhetoric that the Canadian Prime Minister has been banking upon, and as the Indian External Affairs Ministry and the External Affairs Minister himself has also said that much of the hullabaloo that Justin Trudeau is trying to make on the issue of Hardeep Singh Nijjar or on the other Khalistani propagandists has to do with the domestic audience and his own domestic poll prospect. And that is because a large coalition that Justin Trudeau is leading has also partners which feed onto this anti-India propagandist sentiment, especially generated by Khalistanis who try to sway the sentiment of a large number of Indian diaspora present in Canada in the name of India being the country which has done atrocities on them. That's the kind of narrative that they have been trying to build over the years, and they try to keep the fire on. They try to keep the sentiments still burning, and these killings or these incidences are just a tip of those entire conspiracy and the propaganda way these Khalistani people or these anti-India sentiments have been trying to create in Canada, living in Canada, and against India. Also, the Canadian Prime Minister said that the earlier government, that the Conservative Party's government, was much more cozier with India, and probably that was one of the reasons that probably Justin Trudeau was trying to refer, that they did not ask India, they did not have any accountability of India's action into Canadian domestic politics. He also go on to say that our government has always stood up to defend minorities in Canada and the rights of minorities to speak out when, even if it irritates their home countries overseas. That is very important because we saw how Indian agencies, Indian government, Minister of External Affairs, as Jaishankar, had tried to raise the issue of Khalistanis, that they, in the name of minorities, in the name of being, freedom of speech or an expression in Canada, they are trying to whip up the anti-India sentiment, and they clearly pose a threat, a national security threat for India, and Canadian side should take action. There have a lot of lip service from the Canadian side, Canadian agencies, but not any concrete or substantial groundwork that they can say and they can satisfy to their Indian counterparts that they have taken certain action to limit the scope of work and propaganda of these anti-India elements present in Canada's social and political and economic space. In fact, now India has also realized the fact, and they have come out in open and time and again. They have said that much of the anti-India sentiment or individuals who try to whip up those anti-India sentiment in Canada, they are a political force. They are given an accommodation in the social and political space of Canada, because that is something that Canadian Prime Minister is trying to shore up in terms of support to keep his government, a coalition government, afloat and at the center of power.